Chillin' with Larry Megan.
Well, listen, welcome to a Thursday night edition of Chillin' with Larry Megan. I'm a little bit heartbroken tonight. Did you see the X Factor? If you're out there on the West Coast, you may not want to watch right now because the results are in. The group that got kicked off, I can't believe it, is the act that I predicted was going to win this thing. I predicted that, of course, Intensity was going to win the whole prize. And what happens? On the first week, they're the first one out. So it goes to show you what I know. But I did say it was a crazy prediction, and I knew it then. But tough show to watch tonight. I've got a special guest with us tonight, my good friend Jonathan Goodman. And Jonathan, of course, not only do I know him from the watch industry, but also Jonathan he's a background in acting and singing and, you know, that kind of a thing. And Jonathan and I were debating about X Factor, and I said, hey, man, come on the show and give us your perspective from a singer's perspective. So Jonathan's joining us tonight. And can we cut to Jonathan at some point? There he is. Okay.
How you doing, everybody?
I'm waiting for it. How you doing, Jonathan?
Good.
Well, you know, you watched the show with me tonight. Before we get into the X Factor, just outlining what we're going to do here tonight. We'll talk about the X Factor, maybe even show a few clips tonight. But then we go to the Classic Film Zone, the second half of the show, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite films of all time, and that's Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn and William Holden and Humphrey Bogart, and I just love that film. But we're going to get into the X Factor right now. First of all, Jonathan, did you see the whole show last night?
I did.
What'd you think of it?
Having kind of come in late to it, and seen playing catch up tonight on some of the earlier auditions and performances, seeing last night, there's a lot of talent in this show, like a sick amount of talent in this show. But at the same time, last night's performances clearly had its loose ends.
I'll tell you, I purposely said when Jonathan came over here tonight, we were going to watch the show together. Let's not talk about what we think about last night's show. Let's save it, for the show tonight so we won't know how each other thinks. I was so disappointed in the show last night. Probably the best performance of the night for me was Melanie Amaro. I think that girl can probably sing the phone book and knock it out of the park. But everybody else, I think, was, at their all-time worst. I mean, Josh Krajic, who I love Josh Krajic, and I think he's a threat to win this thing. That was probably his worst performance of the season so far, for my taste anyway. So many letdowns for me. Lakota Rain, I'm so happy that Lakota Rain did make it through tonight because I thought they were in real danger of getting cut.
They were bad news bears. Because after watching their particular episode or their particular song, what they did, like the background vocals on top of their vocals to try and thicken up the sound, it's for me, it's what didn't really connect.
What I want to see when those girls sing, they're four excellent singers, is to have each one literally come out and lead the group. And instead, they had all four of them singing the same thing at the same time. And, the judges, that's another thing, too. I thought the judges were way over complimentary last night. Every act was the greatest thing since sliced bread, if you listen to these guys. And only, they were only kind of beating up on each other. But it's funny how Simon has changed. When he was on American Idol, his whole thing was being so hard on the contestants and criticizing them. He wasn't hard on any of the contestants. Oh, he said, I don't like what you're wearing or something like that, but your harmonies were great and all this kind of stuff. Their harmony was okay, but, anyway.
He took his Paula Abdul pill. That's what happened.
He took his Paula Abdul pill. That's pretty funny. I guess so. They all have. But in any case, I'm glad Lakota Rain got through, and my group, Intensity, got the boot tonight.
I have to disagree on Josh. Okay. Vocally, it was a very sound performance. However, at the end, they kind of, he really kind of got into it physically, right? And his lean, for me, the lean he puts in when he gets his voice, when he gets the high notes, that for me detracts from his vocal talent.
Well, in evaluating the over 30s, Josh was in the over 30s, okay? Mm-hmm. And what I did is I kind of broke my scorecard, my mental scorecard into categories. And in the over 30 category, I thought it was his worst performance of the year, but I still had him as the highest the best performance in that category.
Okay.
Okay. I thought that, probably Leroy Bell's was the second best. And I don't know. I'm just not as big of a fan of Stacy Francis as everybody seems to be. She got through tonight. She finished the show with the last spot in the show. But for some reason...
She's the church singer?
Well, that's the one that Simon calls the church singer, yeah. And, she's powerful, no question. She's a powerful singer. But when she goes for that, high upper range, that screech and everything, for me, it's not that melodic. I don't think she's hitting the center of the notes. I mean, that's my taste on it, my take on it.
There's a fancy word for that part. It's the obble gobble. It's a technical term. The high part of it is called the obble
This
gobble.
is technical stuff here,
technical
folks.
term, guys, so write this down. But when she does, she is a really, really good church singer, and I agree with Simon on this. Her upper notes do have a tendency to be a little like a quarter tone flat. Okay. So it's still under the pitch. You're right, she's not in the center of it. However, what she lacks in decimal point, frequency, she absolutely makes up in heart. Yes, she cries after every song, and that's maybe her thing, and that's a bit too much. But as far as singing, as far as being, how does it make you feel? That's my wife's question when she is teaching acting and somebody's doing a monologue. How does it make you feel? And she really shows how she feels.
Well, all right, since we're talking about Stacy Francis, let's take a look at Stacy Francis last night. We won't play, through the judges' comments and all that, but, here she was. This was to, wrap out the show last night. If you missed it, Stacy Francis did make it through tonight to the final 11. Let's go ahead and take a look at her.
America, this is my soul sister, Stacy Francis.
I don't want to die with this music in me, Simon.
One of the best auditions I have ever heard in my life.
I am taking you through. This moment, it all gave you wings, Stacy Francis.
She got it so wrong last week.
I didn't like the song because you're not that kind of singer. You are a church singer.
I kind of was offended by the statement church singer. I'm more than that.
I don't stereotype her as one type of singer. I think that she can connect with everyone.
What she doesn't understand is that church singers sell records.
This week, if he wants gospel, we're giving it to him. It's a spiritual song. It's very uplifting.
If she gets it right, I'm taking full credit. If she gets it wrong, I will take full responsibility. This is exactly the kind of song she should be singing.
Be a little bit more loose, a little bit more raw with it. I believe in Stacy, and I chose her last week, but now it's in America's hands.
I just need to perform my best and hope that it's good enough for America to put me through, because there's no way I'm ready to go home yet. Up to the mountain because you asked me to. Over the clouds to where the sky was blue. I could see all around me everywhere. I could see all around me everywhere. Some days I look down, afraid I will fall, and though the sun shines, I see nothing at all. But then I hear your sweet voice,
Well, there you have it. Stacy Francis last night. Now, as we're sitting here watching that, do you hear what I'm talking about? She goes to that screech. I go like, oh, God. I mean, she's no Whitney Houston, that's for sure.
I am completely and 100% on board with you about the notes, because that's the one thing as a musician that I can't sit in a concert because my shoulder would go. I have this like issue. So you're spot on with talking about how it's under pitch, but you can see when she's in it, like she is in it, right? She is feeling it. She knows the emotion. She is portraying the emotion, and she's showing us through her eyes and through her singing. That was a great performance, albeit pitchy, dog.
Okay. Pitchy, dog. We're
for
gonna
me,
get
for
back
you.
to American Idol. Okay. Well, hey, listen, that was Stacy Francis. She got through. As a matter of fact, all three of the over 30s got through. Josh Krajic, Stacy Francis, and who's the other one in the over 30s now? Leroy Bell. Leroy Bell, Stacy Francis, and Josh Krajic. I thought Leroy Bell did a nice job, but I thought he was going to be the one in the most trouble tonight. But as it turns out, it was my group that I picked.
To your demise.
Well, you know, in the group category, as I looked at the three groups that performed last night, you had the Stereo Hogzz.
Right.
You had, of course, Lakota Rain,
Yep.
and you had the Kids, Intensity. I wasn't crazy about any of the three, to be honest, but I thought the weakest was Lakota Rain, and those are my girls. I predicted them for fourth place, but I just thought the dresses looked like crap, just like Simon said, and then the choice of song where they sang harmony.
The choices, I love the song. But that's beside the point. I do love the song. But what they did to it, and then the background vocals, so they basically went into the studio ahead of time and pre-recorded their vocals. And then there's even one part in there where one of those goes a little wonky pitch-wise. But I got to be honest, for Intensity, their whole like lead-in promo, their lead-in video about their group, they're like, you know what, we don't want to be seen as kids anymore. We're like coming together as a group, and we're adults, right? And then
that was one of the older kids that said that too.
But hear me
though.
out
That
here.
was-
Hear me out here. Then the
was
song,
Aaron.
the song they sing is about being a kid.
Well, but again, that wasn't. They didn't get to pick their own song. I mean, Paula gave them that song. Let's take a look at that. First of all, before we do, I've got the Stereo Hogzz queued up, and they were the other two, and I like what X Factor is doing. Instead of the one with the least votes is kicked off the show, what they're doing, if you didn't see it, they're taking the two lowest vote getters, and then they're having a sing-off. And at that point, and of course, the judges' minds may already be made up anyway, but nevertheless, the judges get to watch them one more time sing against each other, and then it is the judges that decide which one of the two goes home. And I really do like that, because it allows for the, you know, in case America screws it up like they've done so many times on American Idol, you know, Simon can correct it, although we gave Simon a chance to correct it, and he threw off two great girls, and he brought two different girls in. But anyway, it is what it is. It's his show. But anyway, the Stereo Hogzz were against Intensity tonight for the two lowest vote getters, and the judges decided to keep Stereo Hogzz. So let's take a look at and they opened the show last night.
They did.
They were first. Let's take a look.
Coming up now, get ready. Hold your seats. Here comes the Stereo Hogzz.
Yo, we are the Stereo Hogzz. Don't you know that I heard?
You guys are potential superstars.
Stereo Hogzz.
Hey, it feels great. It feels great, man.
We've been friends for over half our lives.
We got Jono right here. He's Mr. Rico Suave.
You got Justin back here. He's the fashion guy.
We got Mr. KG, you know, Mr. Charisma right here.
Trey Bad is the Energizer Bunny.
Trace is
He's the wise.
The Stereo Hogzz are amazing guys. They hit hard, they work hard, they practice hard, and this week it's really an epic number. Go!
The song we're doing this week has a lot of energy. Like, we're going all out.
Slap down, hold.
Every day the choreography has been changing. It's stressful.
Like at first we was going, we are apart, right?
Do that one more time. Can't stop till it's perfect, and then when it's perfect, it can't be a fluke that it was perfect, so we gotta keep doing it again. Here we go, guys!
This week, I think Stereo Hogzz got to show how good they are vocally, and this is a make or break performance.
Again.
It's the first week America's voting, so, I mean, we got to come hard or go home.
to break the lines. Let's work together to improve our way of life. Join voices and protest to social injustice. A generation filled with courage, come forward with me.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We are a part of the Rhythm Nation.
This is a test, no struggle, no progress. Lend a hand to help your brother do his best. Things are getting worse, we have to do it better. It's time to give a damn, let's work together.
People of the world today, are we looking for a better way? All time, let me hear you say, we are a part of the Rhythm Nation. People of the world unite, surely never think you get it right. One time, let me hear you say,
we are a part of the Rhythm Nation.
All right, Jonathan. There they were. Go ahead. What did you think?
Well, I got to be honest. It's, we talked earlier how it's not even quite a boy band. It's just one guy in the front and this other group of guys in the back just kind of dancing and singing harmony. Like that one guy, the guy that looks like Tommy Davidson from In Living Color, the lead singer.
He always sings the lead every time.
He always sings the lead, and he always does the same mannerisms that Tommy does. And so when I see them, all I want to watch is, In Living Color, because I want to see Tommy Davidson doing Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, it's what I see every time I see these guys.
He looked like Sammy Davis Jr. tonight.
He did.
That's for sure. But, it was, look at Paula, of course, she choreographed Janet Jackson and Rhythm Nation, and somehow I liked it better when Janet did it. But
absolutely.
But, the thing is, what's his name? Simon, at the end of this, when they go through the judges' comments, he says to them, right now, there isn't a band out there that's, better than you. You're the hottest band there is on the planet, basically, whatever his words were, which was, to me, astounding. I couldn't believe Simon was saying this. And like you said, it's a stretch to even call them a band because it's one guy with just some background singers.
I told you, he took his Paula Abdul pill. He really did.
I think it's more than that. I think it's Simon trying to sell this talent to America because it's his show.
True.
He didn't have that same vested interest with American Idol.
And why is he in every commercial?
Well, listen,
talk about narcissism.
Well, he's making a lot of money, and then they have to make the announcement, of course, that they've been picked up by Fox for year 2. So that they have to actually announce that during the show. I guess so. Why not?
It's free advertising,
right? And then on top of that, what was he? The way that he's selling every act.
Yeah.
Like it's the greatest thing. It's too much. The production. To me, it's overproduced. Every number. Okay, when Leroy Bell came out and just stood there, that wasn't so bad, I suppose. But with all the smoke and the dancers and the choreography.
And the screens and the lights. And, I mean, there's so much visual stimulation. You kind of get lost in the fact that they are or they aren't a performer. So those that do have the talent, that have the voice, can shine. But I agree, the screens, like the giant face screens that they have, it's kind of creepy at times.
Creepy. That's a good way to put it, I suppose. I mean, maybe... when they get down to the final 4, you can step up the production values a little bit and give them dancers and a bigger stage and all that kind of stuff. But right out of the chute,
yeah, I agree.
It's too much.
Well, you go through a boot camp, which I understand is an accelerated learning process. But now we're here and we're in front of an audience. You still need to kind of go through that growth in order to obtain the right, if you will, to be on that type of epic visual stimulation.
Listen, I've got a lot of videos here. We're not going to be able to play them all, but I think we should at least give one, bye-bye wave to Intensity. I really hated to see these kids go. They're just kids, man, from 12 to 17. They needed time to really gel. This was a very bad song choice for them last night. It was too Disney or too sweet or too innocent, which they didn't want to be. Paula gave him this song. I thought they did a nice job with it, but these kids would have gotten better if they could have stayed in the competition. But Stereo Hogzz stay in tonight, and the Intensity goes home. Are you ready? Roll it, Ronnie.
Next up is Intensity.
You didn't come in as groups, but now you are in the groups category.
We're Intensity.
Going to make you one of my 4 going forward.
That was a music miracle. You in the red jacket have got an amazing voice.
Last week, Simon said that I was an amazing singer. I actually started singing before I could even read. My mom told me that when I was in her stomach, she would always sing to me.
I'd look at you and say, I've got the new young Glee.
With the success of Glee, I feel that hopefully young people connect to them.
So what do you guys feel about the song?
I think it's a cheesy song. We don't want to be labeled as like Disney kids.
They don't want to be considered kids, but they are beautiful, wonderful kids. Tonight is huge for us. It's our opportunity to show America that we're more than just a kids group.
I don't think Paula has quite got this group. If it goes wrong, it goes spectacularly wrong.
Looking out a dirty old window, down below the cars in the city go rushing by. I sit here alone and I wonder why. Friday night and everyone's moving. I can feel the heat, but it's soothing heading down. I search for the beat in this little downtown. The onwards are going. Downtown, the onwards are growing. We're the kids in America. Whoa, we're the kids in America. Whoa, everybody live for the music around.
Yeah, party rock. Come on, come on, come on, yeah.
Party rock is in the house tonight. Everybody just have a good time. And we gon' make you lose your mind. We just wanna see you shake that.
I'm running through this town like Trano. I got that devilish slow rock and roll. No halo, we party rock. Yeah, that's the crew that I'm rapping on the rise to the top. No lead in the Zeppelin.
We're the kids in America. Whoa, we're the kids in America. Whoa, everybody live for the music Everybody live for the music Shake that.
Okay, there it was, man. Listen, again, I know that was kind of a throwaway song for them last night, a cheesy song, whatever, but I would rather watch that, I'm sorry, than some of the other acts that went through without, specifically saying. But, I think what it came down to at the end, with the two groups in the bottom, the Stereo Hogzz and Intensity, Paula, she had to make a choice between the two. I couldn't believe she sent Intensity home, but I'm thinking, like, she has to work with all these kids, man, and that's probably a lot more work with 10 kids because she's choreographing these groups and everything. She's doing an amazing job, and the other guys are simply older, You know, she can work with them, and I think it's just easier work for Paula, and I think that's why she sent Intensity home too.
Well, I mean, there's that aspect of it, but at the same time, this is a competition for $5 million. $5 million is the prize in order to take this group to the next level to make them superstars.
Okay.
Now you have 10, is it right? 10 kids? From
10,
what are the ages?
From 12 to 17. That little blonde girl that was wearing those great big
yellow boots tonight.
Yeah.
So
she's
you've got
12.
You've got 10 kids from the ages of 12 to 17, right in the prime of puberty, pubescence, and you got to think about
pubescence.
Whatever.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, but and you've got these 10 kids that have the potential to get knocked up on tour, or you're going through these changes. You start doing the drugs, and I mean that's what happens to these kid groups. So let them grow, let them incubate off stage, out of sight. If this is truly something that they want to invest in, I can guarantee you they don't want to invest $5 million in something that easily in 6 months could have a temper tantrum and want to go home.
Well, actually, I hadn't thought about it that way, Jonathan. That's not a bad way to look at it, really.
I mean, they're
makes
kids.
sense,
They're
actually.
kids. I mean, you saw the emotion tonight, and they were. There was one poor girl in the middle of their song crying, and at the end, the littlest one seemed to be crying. And it's an emotional thing, and, they just got to learn heartache. No, I'm just kidding.
The girl's like 13, and you're like,
whatever.
You're killing her. You're killing this little girl. All right, she thought it was like the most devastating thing in the world. She's 13. But, you're right. They definitely could do some work outside of this, and that might be the true test for them. If they really want to stick together, or maybe two or three of them are saying, no, this isn't for me. They were forced together. They were thrown together.
That's the thing.
Not a bad point. Well, in the girls category, I thought Lakota Rain really lucked out. I thought they were the weakest of the groups, and the funny thing is they were the only group that got through without a pitch tonight.
Yeah.
That tells you a little something, by the way. As bad
true.
as they were last night, I think they were horrible. There's a following, not only for these girls, but they're a little bit country. And I think that they're the only act in this show that has a little bit of country. And you see how the country following comes out and supports, Taylor Hicks and Carrie Underwood. We've seen it down through the years.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Carrie Underwood deserves everything. But, I mean, they come out, and they might. This group girls could go really far because of that.
I think you're right. They absolutely could go far. They do have talent, and that's it's noticeable between the auditions to the live shows to the at the mentor's house or the judge's house. You can see the talent that they do have, but it comes down to last night's performance being, again, the weakest of the ones I've seen from them, but they do have that country element that makes them, pop in country. There's such a fine line between the two now. They easily could be, I don't want to say crossover, because that line is grade.
I'm looking for big things from them. In the girls category, the boys, all three of them made it through. I didn't think particularly, any one of them was great. I like Marcus Canty a lot. I wasn't crazy about the number he did last night, the whole Bobby Brown thing. Chris Renee, I know he can do better. This guy is kind of, to me, L.A. Reid is being very unfair to this kid because, they give him a Carpenter's song to sing. This is a recovering, drug guy, and he kind of raps and DJ raps, and he writes his own lyrics and stuff. And they want him to come out of his comfort zone. They won't let him sing his own lyrics, although they let him do one segment of the song, which was pretty cool. That's where I think he saved himself. But they give him the Carpenters for Chris Renee. He did the best he could, but it really wasn't great. And then, even for Astro, for the little kid, he's certainly not my cup of tea. I won't be hurt at all when he leaves the show. But I can at least see how talented this kid is. And I got to say, for last night, again, to me, that was his weakest performance so far this season. I didn't think it was great at all, but all three of them got through. Quickly to the girls now.
Mm-hmm.
The girl who I predicted for second, I love this little girl. She's 14. I know you like her too, right? Judy Ryniewicz?
Well, I'm impressed with her. I had to, having seen last night's performance, to see it was very Tori Amos-esque. Still had her folksy feel to it, but the issue that I had, she has a phenomenal sound. She has a phenomenal tone to her voice that's really haunting, enchanting. It locks you in auditorily. The problem that I saw last night, and again, this is only visually, is that she's really not very coordinated. And I mean,
she's a little clumsy.
She is. We'll watch the video, and you can kind of see she kind of does step, touch, step,
She's
touch.
going through her awkward stage for crying out loud.
And that's fine. That's
she's
fine.
14.
Well,
The
Taylor
little-
Swift. No, give me here.
The
hear me
little
out.
girl goes up there barefoot every week.
Taylor Swift, she kind of started around that age as well. Now, granted, Taylor Swift still is a little awkward even in her stage presence as well.
Yeah.
I think it's something that she can work in her favor, but I think at the same time it needs to be at least a little bit more.
You want to see what she did last night?
Please.
All right, let's check it out. Drew Ryniewicz last night. Here she is.
Okay, we're back to the talent. One word, Drew.
I'm Drew Ryniewicz. Baby, baby.
Best contestant of the whole day.
My first girl through, Drew.
This is like a dream to me that I made it past the very first live show.
We are looking at a future star.
Oh my gosh. I impressed Simon, but I have to impress America. It's so great having my mom get to be backstage with me. She's never missed a performance. Oh my gosh. She's very emotional. My mom and my dad always taught me to never hide what I feel, and I think that that's displayed through my music.
It's undescribable how a parent feels when their child is up on stage.
You're going to see a different side of Drew this week. It's gone away from what we've done for 2 weeks. It's cooler and it's younger.
I've added new elements to my song, but it's still me and who I am as an artist.
She's suggesting a different drum track, where she wants the song to end. This to me is crucial. I like working with artists.
Even though I want it to be different than what I've done before. I really hope America believes in me because they're the ones who are voting.
I was at the top, it's like I'm in the basement. #1 spot, he's finding a replacement. I swear now I can't take it, knowing somebody's got my baby. And now you ain't around, baby, I can't think. Should've put it down, should've got that ring. I can still feel it in the air. See your pretty face, run my fingers through your hair. I was thinking about him, thinking about me, thinking about us, what we gon' be. I realized it was only just a dream. So I travel back down that road, will he come back? No one knows. I realized it was only just a dream. If you ever love somebody, put your hands up. If you ever love somebody, put your hands up. And now they're gone and you wishing you could give them everything. Thinking about me, thinking about us, what we gon' be. Open my eyes, it was only just a dream. So I travel back down that road. Will you come back? No one knows. I realized it was only just a dream. Thank you guys.
Anyway, Jonathan's making fun of this little 14-year-old saying, "Look, she's
Careful.
got knock knees and all that."
I did say the knock
She's
knees.
14, man. She's cute.
Did you
I
have
think
knock kneed at 14? Were you knock kneed at 14?
I was pretty gawky myself, let me tell you. But
I was no Prince Charming.
But I mean, I think kids are going to love this girl, man. I love that she goes up there barefoot. She's a little 14-year-old.
I dig her. I dig her talent. She's got a great voice. Physically she'll get there. And it's okay.
Come on, man.
I'm serious.
All
She'll be
right.
fine.
All right, listen, we're going to take one more look. This is my girl, Melanie Amaro. I picked her for 5th. I hope she wins this thing, her or Josh, because I want to hear singers. This girl can sing the phone book. Check it out. Melanie Amaro last night, and this will be our final look at X Factor. Take a look.
Okay, no silly outfits, no silly seasons. It's Melanie.
You haven't made it, babe. I made a massive mistake. We want you back on the live shows.
After tonight, she could win this competition. It's Melanie Amaro.
No one knows the feeling that I had just a few weeks ago when I was sent home. Nobody knows what it's like to be given a second chance and to come back so strong. I honestly think that in a way I needed that no to make me stronger.
Again, why I'm good at this job. I know when I've made a mistake, all right? And I'm quite happy to admit publicly that I made one of the biggest mistakes of my life, but I rectified it. Very important that you now get out of your comfort zone occasionally.
The song this week has definitely taken me out of my comfort zone. It's like a song that you really wouldn't expect me to sing.
What I don't want to happen with you is that you become a one-trick pony. It's very easy just to keep doing Mariah, Whitney, Celine. I don't want her to do that.
Getting even anywhere close to a no right now is out of the question for me. Like, I don't want to go back to that feeling ever again.
Desperado, why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences so long now, and freedom, oh freedom, well that's just some people talking. Your prison is walking through this world all alone. Don't you draw the queen of diamonds, boy, she'll beat you if she's able. You know the queen of hearts is always your best bet. You lose and know your highs and lows. Ain't it funny how the story goes away? You better let somebody love you. You better let somebody love you. Oh, it's too late.
Melanie, the only thing Simon ever did right was going to bring you back. Nice song choice, but him bringing you back was more powerful to me.
Thank you, thank you. Melanie,
there is no limit to what you and your voice can do.
Thank you, thank you. Melanie, you look beautiful, and I have to say, hearing your voice, it's like fine china. Just bring it out for the most special occasions, and this is a special occasion. Thank you. Amazing, amazing. Thank you.
Melanie, I first of all, I just want to thank the writers because they've never cleared that song before and it was touch and go, so sincerely thank you. I've got to say, I didn't realise how good you were. That was... I mean, you are seriously, seriously good. Right now, you are the one to beat, trust me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon. Well done, well done. To vote for Melanie Amaro, call 1-855-the-XF07. That's 1-855-843-9307. Or you can text the word VOTE to 9307. Message and data rates may apply. To vote online or to learn how to vote using Twitter, go to thexfactorusa.com. But voting doesn't open until the end of the show.
Well, listen, like I said before, Jonathan, I wasn't crazy about that song for her. I understand what Simon said about we don't want you to be a one-trick pony. I think he's absolutely right.
Yep.
You know, that we saw what happened to Pia Toscano last year on American Idol. She was incredible, but she sang ballad after ballad.
Mm-hmm.
It was a one-trick pony, and she was done. So I agree with him there. But Desperado, but listen, that girl can sing the phone book, and it's going to sound great. She can sing anything.
Here's why I will tell you Desperado.
Okay.
Right? Simon says, we don't want you to be a one-trick pony.
Right.
That arrangement of Desperado was the most perfect piece, coordinated for her voice, because she starts off that soft, and then when it kicks in, like, she takes it to the next level. You're right. She could sing the phone book. I would happily sit and watch her sing the phone book. But, to be able to see that she can do the Whitney Houstons and the Mariah Careys, but then also make a soulful Desperado kind of pull your heartstrings, it's really talented.
All right. I would have even seen her give her a Janis Joplin number. Let's see, put her into her style. I think I would have gone with more something like that than, the Eagles. But anyway, it is what it is.
But you don't like the Eagles?
I like the Eagles, but, the Eagles are not Melanie Amaro.
Look, Melanie Amaro is everyone and Melanie Amaro at the same time.
Listen, I told you before, I hope she wins it because I'm all for talent. Her or Josh Krajic. I can listen to either one of those sing. They're both great. So that's where I'd like to see it go. I just don't think it's going to go that way. But that's where it is tonight. I got kicked out. If we were doing one of those pools where, you pick one person that you think is going to win the Super Bowl or win the whole prize, and you are in it as long as your pick is in it, I would already be done with like 8 weeks left in the season. I'm already out because my pick got booted tonight. But I said it was a crazy pick.
It was a bit of a stretch.
All right. So that's it for the X Factor. We didn't get a chance to try and do a Skype call for that or whatever because my other computer crashed. But I think Ronnie's telling me if you want to Skype in, during the Classic Film Zone, we're going to feature Sabrina with Audrey Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart. He says we have Skype open now, and you can see on the top of the screen the phone number to the studio. If you just want to call in, we can, just take your voice. Or if you can video Skype, that's really what I'm looking for because I want to test out our split screen with the video Skype. But anyway, you would just Skype Acorn TV, and we'll be able to bring you in. But with that said, I think it's time. Let's go to the Classic Film Zone. Listen, one of my all-time favorites is Audrey Hepburn. I think most of you out there, know that by now. And I'm a big Audrey Hepburn fan. In fact, as we speak, I have Audrey Hepburn right here above my desk. A big picture of Audrey. And I'm
sorry.
In any case, Sabrina. This was Audrey's second movie. And her first movie, of course, was Roman Holiday in America. Her first American film, that is, was Roman Holiday in 1953. She won the Academy Award for that. And slow down on those pictures over there, Ronnie. You're way, way, way ahead of me, okay? What I'm saying, he's jumping so far ahead, I'm ready to jump ahead with him. But I just want to set it up a little bit here. In 1954, with Billy Wilder directing, she did Sabrina. And the choice for her main love interest is Linus Larrabee, and that was to be Cary Grant. And they thought Cary Grant was going to be the guy. He turned it down. They did get William Holden, who just won the Academy Award for Stalag 17. And with Cary Grant turning down the lead, it went to Humphrey Bogart. And from the very beginning of the making of this film, Bogart really felt jilted that he was a second choice. He was never happy during the production of the film. Only after it was wrapped and done did he then come around, and he even apologized to Billy Wilder for the way he behaved on the set and everything else. But it went to Humphrey Bogart, and it's a story of a very rich family in Long Island, and they have a chauffeur, and the chauffeur has a daughter, and they live above the garage. And the daughter grows up on the grounds of the Larrabees, a very wealthy family. And she really, just has a major crush on the younger brother, who's played by William Holden. Now, keep in mind, the younger brother is still a good, probably 20 years older than her. She's on the ground, she's only like 16 or 17. So he's at least in his 30s. He's already been married 3 times. But she loves him. And the older brother, of course, is the one who runs the business, and that's Linus Larrabee, and that's Humphrey Bogart. And she watches the parties from the tree, and she sees the high society, and she fantasizes about being with David Larrabee, who's played by William Holden. He's a total playboy. And ultimately, the father, the chauffeur, tells her, you shouldn't reach for the moon, and I'm sending you away to Paris to go to cooking school. And she wants to kill herself, and she tries to kill herself, and it doesn't really work out. And Humphrey Bogart actually saves her from killing herself without him even knowing it. He walked in when she was trying to asphyxiate herself with carbon monoxide poisoning in the garage. But anyway, just to set up a little bit about, who is who in this, you have Humphrey Bogart playing the older brother that takes care of business, the multimillionaire, and David Larrabee, played by William Holden, the playboy brother. Here's a quick little scene right here of the two of them, so you get an idea of like who's who here. Let's take a look at this. You'll understand the situation.
I can't wait for the 65 cents a month.
That's 65 cents a month for the pension. But that was a famous actor, John Williams, character actor, who plays Thomas Fairchild, the chauffeur for the family. But I thought that, like I said, I think the choice, and everybody has said this. I mean, I've read a lot of critiques on this film, that Humphrey Bogart turned out to be an incredible choice, for this role. He's all business.
He is all business. It's a perfect odd couple between him and his brother. I mean, and I told you before that maybe that part was a little bit slow about the stocks. I think it actually it peels back more of his character even more perfectly, if you will, because he knows the numbers. Like, he knew how the stock market closed last night. So when his secretary tells him how it opened, he knows. He probably was doing the math. Oh, it's 11 up, 11. Like, he was like almost the, boy wonder math whiz when it came to that. So it really kind of shows how, stark, trim pressed shirt that he is compared to the playboy brother, which I'm sure later we'll find out exactly how playboy he is.
Yeah, well, Humphrey Bogart, again, you stop and think about this. You have, first of all, Audrey Hepburn, who just won the Academy Award the year before for Roman Holiday. Mm-hmm. You have William Holden, who just won an Academy Award for Stalag 17, I think 2 years before. And, of course, Bogart by that time was a major star. He won an Oscar for African Queen in 1951, which was 3 years before. That was with Katharine Hepburn. And then he, of course, was nominated for an Oscar for Casablanca in 1942. Premiere Magazine, top movie all-star, movie star of all time in the top 10. This guy is a legend. So you had an incredible cast,
right?
And of course they did try to make a remake of this movie in the 90s.
Really?
Yeah, it was with Harrison Ford playing the older brother, playing Linus.
Okay.
And I like Harrison Ford.
Absolutely.
They had Greg Kinnear playing the part of William Holden there.
This was what, 90 what?
I think in 95 or 96.
Yeah, that would have been
weird.
weird.
And then they had, I forgot the actress's name who played the part of Sabrina. But
yeah.
I mean, how could you even dare?
There's certain movies no one should touch as far as remakes go.
I'm serious. Absolutely.
There really are. So, we unfortunately have to get our mugs down into the mud of all the good stuff from the earth.
Right. Well, you got someone on Skype. Hey. Is it a video Skype or? It's a number. It's a number. All right. Let's see who's on the line. Go ahead. Let's pick it up.
Here we got it. Hello.
Mr. Megan.
Who's this?
Mr. Bacon.
Jim. Jim Z.
How are you?
Good, Jim. How are you?
Not too bad.
Good.
You're talking about a priceless movie.
No question about it. This is Jim Z from Watch Geeks and Facebook. And Jim and you and I have met at Watch Geek get-togethers up in the Boston area. And, of course, you and I have very similar tastes. I see you belong to one of the same groups on Facebook that I do, that classic movie connoisseurs. And I always see your post of I think we're a couple of old souls, Jim.
We definitely are. There's something about the old movies. I just, I haven't been to the movies in so long now, because it seems like there's a different generation of manufacturing of movies where actors aren't even important anymore. Everything is high tech, or it seems like a video game that's put on the screen. And when you look back at a Humphrey Bogart, I mean, the power that this person had, and I think the history behind Bogart, if I'm not mistaken, his father was a very well-known surgeon in New York City.
Yes.
And I think he had expected his son would probably follow in his footsteps.
Yeah.
And I remember in an interview he was telling a story. I think when his father first learned that he wanted to become an actor, he was horrified.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
Yeah, and to think that this man, I mean, he's such a legend. You can watch any one of his films over and over again, and for some reason it has the quality of always being the first time again.
You know, it's so true. You know.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Audrey Hepburn, I mean, she basically was such a beautiful woman. She was so talented, and yet she had this little girl quality. And when you throw the three together in this film, you know, between William Holden, Bogart, and her, and the interplay between her off the two brothers, and like you had been talking about the character actor who played the chauffeur, it's really a sad part of the movie because he's watching his daughter. He reveres her dearly. He sees the interplay between the two brothers, and he's pained because he's working for them, and yet at the same time he has to watch this unfold. And it's just a fascinating movie. It captivates you, and it's the type of thing you can't even go to get if you're watching. You can't go to the refrigerator to get a drink because you're going to miss a key line in the movie and you lose out.
Well said, Jim. Stay with us. Don't leave right now. We're going to go to another clip, okay? Because otherwise we'll be here till 1 a.m. But actually, on the East Coast, that's not too far off. But what happens now? Of course, her father sends her away to cooking school in Paris, and of course, right before that, she wanted to kill herself. She ends up loving Paris and learning a lot about life and everything. She comes back 2 years later, and I guess, presumably, she's probably around 19 or 20 when she returns, maybe 21. We never know for sure, but I think that's a fair estimate because she was pretty young when she left. And she comes back almost like, a full-grown, sophisticated, elegant woman, and she's waiting at the train station after a couple years for her father to pick her up way out there on the end of Long Island. And he's not showing up. He's detained, and driving home is none other than the one she always had a crush on, David, the playboy, and he sees this hot chick waiting at the station, and he pulls to pick her up. It's pretty funny. Let's take a look at that scene. There it was.
Really good.
He didn't even recognize her. I mean, the whole time, that he's giving her a ride home, he doesn't recognize her, and then when all the other servants come out,
he's calling you.
Yeah, you're calling the wrong number.
Call the other one.
It's 781.
There we go.
Okay. In any case, when all the other servants come out, then he figures it out. It's Sabrina, and his mind is blown. So what happens is, I'm going to try and cut this to the chase here. We got Jim back on the line?
We do.
All right, Jim. You saw the clip. You've seen the movie. Talk to us.
There's one thing when you look at new films. And, today they're into this reality, like the new James Bond film starts filming on the 7th. And in one of the two Daniel Craig films, there's a scene where he's up at a scaffold and he's fighting a bad guy. And the thing that shocked me is they said they really put him up 200 feet. I guess, they were attached by lines which were digitally removed. But I thought, you look at an old movie like this, and, the car is probably on a jig in a studio, and there's the scenery passing by them. But yet it was done like a play. There's this depth of these films that for some reason you forget that you're watching it on a screen, television, in a movie theater, whatever, and you're so drawn into the action.
Yeah.
And that's something that's really been lost today. Today you're watching people speak lines. Then you were watching a life story that was going on in front of you, and you were in it, but you didn't know it.
Well,
and by the time the movie was over, you were taken through this experience that seemed like a half a lifetime, and you were totally so engulfed in it, you were totally swept away from a window of time in your life.
Well,
And
Jim,
they can't do that anymore.
yeah, well, Jim, you certainly don't have to sell me, but you're right. I agree with you. It does draw you in, and to think that they tried to make a remake out of this, I just like Jonathan said, some movies you better just leave them alone. You know.
You have to leave it alone. To do a remake of that, it won't work.
Yeah.
It won't work. I mean, William Holden at that point in time, it was more of an innocent time in his life. I think that was well before he had ever done Bridge on the River Kwai.
Bridge on the River Kwai was 1957.
57.
57. This was 1954. That came 3 years later. But I think this came, long before his, trouble with alcoholism and all that other stuff.
Yeah, it started to. He became much more gritty later on. I mean, there was still this lightheartedness.
Yeah, he's
and
incredible.
The beauty of this film, like you said, he remembered her as a little girl and picks her up, realizes who she is, and, from the playboy character that he plays, obviously is intrigued with what he perceives as a totally different woman than a little girl that he remembered.
Well, Jim,
and it's just,
I'm going to go to the next clip here, and I appreciate you calling in. We're already past the time we want, for the whole show, but we're going to try and finish it up quickly here. But I really appreciate you calling in, and each week we're going to do a classic film zone. So I hope you check back in with us.
I'm definitely back there, and thank you for having me on.
All right, man. Love to Shirley.
Take care.
All right, peace. Real quickly, we'll try to shortcut this thing. What happens, of course, is William Holden as David Larrabee. He's absolutely head over heels and crazy about Sabrina. He ends up that night. That day he picked her up. He had an engagement party that night at his house.
His engagement party.
His engagement party, because his older brother Linus had set him up with the daughter of this huge, sugarcane empire, and he was going to marry the two because he needed the sugar. It was a business deal. It's pretty funny. He says, he tells Linus, "You're marrying this girl," and he says, "I haven't even proposed to her, and she hasn't even accepted." He says, "Don't worry, I proposed to her father for you," and he accepted for her. And David Larrabee says, "Did you kiss him?" But in any case, this is the party, and he is so taken by Sabrina. He invites Sabrina to come to the party, and he tries to. He dances with her at his own engagement party. He's head over heels for her, and he tells her, "I'm going to meet you on the tennis courts." A typical move of his, with a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. And everybody catches on to what's going on, and so Linus steps in. He can't let Sabrina ruin his merger, so he manages to basically get David off the track. He has him come in and talk to his father and have him sit down on the glasses, and he got injured. So now Linus goes, and his plan is he's going to charm Sabrina away from his younger brother to save the business deal. And it works. I mean, he's charming her, and she's starting to fall for him instead of David. She didn't know that was going to happen. And, so for the next 2 or 3 days, Linus is going after her and spending time with her while David is recovering from his wounds. And here they are. Kind of hard to believe, a young Audrey Hepburn and a much older Humphrey Bogart. But here, take a look at this scene that with the two of them out on a boat. Check it out. Yeah, one of the interesting things to me about this, Jonathan, is the casting, because here she is. She's playing we just learned it. She was a 22-year-old, and he's obviously a 50-something. Yeah. In real life, he was born in 1899. This was filmed in 1954. So in real life, he's 55 years old, and he's playing basically about the same age. So, I don't know if this would wash today to see a 55-year-old and a 22-year-old, but
I think it absolutely would wash. I mean, how many times do you see those movies that have that father-daughter relationship? I know this is not a father-daughter relationship, but that older man to the younger girl, they do it all the time.
But what's interesting to me is that whether it's her or him or both of them as actors, it's believable.
Oh,
it's just incredibly believable. And, now with Cary Grant, if he would have got the role and they wanted him and he turned it down, I don't know if it would have been as good, because
it would have been a different movie.
Because, he's Humphrey Bogart obviously looks like he's all business and not a ladies
That's the
killer.
thing. Yeah.
Cary Grant is a ladies guy.
It would fight the brother easily, like the archetype would fight.
So I mean, and they make it so believable, and she's falling for him, as you can see. And again, he's just spending time with her to try to charm her away from his brother, who he pretty much fooled into getting injured by having him sit on glass, and so he can't even get out of the bed.
Yikes.
And for 3 days or so, he's courting her, taking her to lunches and dinners and out on boats and so forth. And she's falling in love with him, and his plan is working. But it's really a master plan to just buy her off. But here they are once again, the chemistry between Audrey Hepburn and, this is in the car scene, but the chemistry between Audrey Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart. Check it out. Well, you can see that, she's starting to get smitten with Linus, the older brother, and his plan is working. But I think what he didn't count on is that he's starting to fall for her too. So he devises this master plan. She convinced him he needs to go to Paris to freshen up his life. He devises a plan to take her along, and he invites her to go out for an evening, with a whole play and orchestra and all this stuff. She doesn't want to do it because she's scared now that she's falling in love with him. And she really has had a crush on the younger brother her whole life. She comes over to his office. He tricks her up there, and she sees the boat tickets, to go on the cruise to Paris on the desk. And this is the scene where she first finds out that, she's going on the trip. But in the same scene, Linus can't go through with his plan. His plan was that they were going to meet on the boat and both go over there. And then once the ship takes off, she was going to get a message that he wasn't coming. And he was going to set her up with money and everything and send her off to Paris so that she couldn't possibly be an interference to the marriage of, his brother and the other party. So this last scene that we're going to see here, this is where he tries to buy her off and pay her off, and he can't go through with it as far as trying to trick her, so he feels like he's just going to tell her the truth. And she decides to take the money and take the trip anyway. So here it is, the final scene. It's not...
That is tough. What I'm impressed with is for a kitchen, there's nothing on the counter.
Well, it's his
except
office.
Tickets. Oh, that was his office.
And
all right,
he had
that
a
makes
little
more
bar
sense.
for the office, and he
All
had
right.
a few things like olives and
I'm with you
tomato
now.
juice.
I thought at first I was like when she turned the
You
light on.
haven't seen this movie, have you?
I haven't.
Yeah.
But I'm absolutely, after these clips, I'm absolutely taking this home because I'm intrigued and I want to see how it ends.
You got to get your own copy.
What? It's right here in front of me. I'm looking at it right here. What? I have not.
That's my
what
copy.
are you talking about?
Okay, that's cool. Anyway, it's a tough spot right there, but it all ends up in a happy ending because, he's at the board meeting with the group and he's going to tell the board that the wedding is off because he wants his brother to go with Sabrina. He has a soft heart. And then just before he says the wedding is off, David barges in the thing. He says he's just late for the meeting. Everything's fine because David figured out that his brother really loved the girl and she loved him. And he said, go. And David showed him that he really loved her. So he caught a tugboat. The cruise ship had already taken off. He caught a tugboat, which caught the cruise ship. And he, shows up on the boat and she's shocked and happy and they hug and kiss. And, that's the end of the Hollywood script right there. And it's a happy ending, but it's a great flick. More than a flick.
I'll have to Netflix. See if it's on Netflix. I don't have to borrow yours.
You can borrow mine.
No,
man.
it's too late now. I'm
right.
actually checking Netflix on my phone. To heck with you.
Well, you
I
have
don't need
Netflix. They raised the price, I heard.
Yeah, they did. Actually, Redbox raised the price.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I won't be going to the box that is red.
Okay, but I don't think Redbox would have this one anyway.
No, they might. But
What's
not
really
this
cool about this is it's got a special features thing, and there's like a little documentary about this whole movie. Edith Head won an Oscar for costume design, although all the really nice dresses from the French dresses were done by Hubert Givenchy. And of course, this movie also marked the first time that Audrey Hepburn, got together with Givenchy. And of course, did he make her? Did she make him? I don't know. But they had a lifelong friendship. But yet it was Edith Head who got the award for costume design. Other than those beautiful gowns, the rest of it was all Edith Head, and she got an Oscar for that. But great flick, a lot of nominations. And that's going to be it for the Classic Film Zone.
Absolutely. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure.
Now, we're not quite done.
Right, but I mean, it's been a pleasure to be introduced to
it's been a pleasure to
classic
have you
piece.
here, and
Thank
I'm
you.
going to have you back if you'll come back.
Absolutely. I know where you live.
You know where I live, and also, don't forget, we have the X Factor, and it's going to get better. I mean,
Yep.
This week I thought was a really bad week on the X Factor. But in case you're not aware of it, if I haven't told you, if you haven't figured it out yet, I end every show, since it's my show, Chilling with Larry and Megan, my all-time favorite is Judy Garland. So I have to have a Judy moment in every show.
Okay.
So we end every show with a segment on Judy, and let's go to it right now. Always Chasing Rainbows.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
This one I'm going to show tonight. One of Judy's signature songs by Harold Arlen is called "The Man That Got Away," and of course that song was first appeared in film in 1954 with was it 55? 54 with "A Star Is Born."
Yep.
And of course Judy was the one that was the star that was born, and of course James Mason was phenomenal in this movie. This was a production by Judy's then husband, Sid Luft. And
that's Lorna Luft's father, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Lorna Luft is Judy's daughter.
Right.
Liza Minnelli is also Judy's
Right, I
daughter,
knew that
but
one.
from her, I can't say her first marriage, but from her marriage to Vincent Minnelli.
From the father of Liza.
Yes.
Right.
And he was also 20 years older than Judy or thereabouts. But in any case, Sid Luft produced, it was not an MGM production, it was Sid Luft produced the movie, and it was A Star Is Born starring Judy. I think a great movie for Judy. Of course, she was nominated for an Academy Award, which she did not win. I think she probably should have won, but they had cut scenes out of the movie and everything else, and that probably cost her. But I don't think Judy looks her best in this film because she's a little bit, she's always struggled with her weight. But nevertheless, she acted great. She sang great. She was in great voice. And she performed that song on her TV show. She performed it, of course, in that movie. But I have a rendition of that song that she did, and it was in 1962. And it was a TV special called Judy, Frank, and Dean. Of course, Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin.
Classic.
And this was about a year after her big show at Carnegie Hall in New York, too. But so Judy was in great voice here. Also, once again, probably not the most flattering shots of Judy. But nevertheless, her voice is in top form here. And this is The Man That Got Away from that Judy, Frank, and Dean special on CBS way back in 1962. So Judy would be 40 years old when we see her here. She died at 47. But in this shot that we're going to see, Judy Garland, The Man That Got Away, she's 40 years old. And what I always like to say on these last spots to end every show, Jonathan, is that for me, Judy's film career, TV career, it's always about moments. It's not necessarily about this movie or that movie, but there's always moments within those movies.
But life is a series of moments, isn't it?
It is, and I find these Judy moments always, for me, are very inspiring.
Excellent. I can't wait.
Let's check it out. The Man That Got Away, Judy Garland.
The night is bitter. The stars have lost their glitter. The winds grow colder. Suddenly you're older. And all because of the man that got away. No more his eager call, the writings on the wall, the dreams you've dreamed have all gone astray. Run off and undone you. That great beginning has seen a final inning. Don't
Don't know what happened. It's all a crazy game. No more that old time thrill for you've been through the mill and never a new love will be the same. Good riddance, goodbye. Every trick of his, you're on tour. But fools will be fools. And where's he gone to? The road gets rougher. It's lonelier and tougher. With hope you burn out. Tomorrow he might turn out. There's just no let up. The livelong night and day. Ever since this world began, there is nothing sadder than a one-man woman looking for the man that got away. The man that
Man, I love listening to Judy Garland. So, Jonathan, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
Any closing comments for tonight?
Hey, it's been a pleasure getting to talk about the X Factor and actually kind of be introduced to Sabrina, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. I do want to plug for a new professional theater company in Hastings, Newbridge Theater Company. You can visit us at the website at www.newbridgetheater.com and check it out. It's going to be a new professional educational theater in Hastings.
So, and this is your theater?
This is mine and my wife's theater. We both have a background performing as far as like single-digit children. She used to put on plays in her backyard, and I started performing at the age of 5, so it's one of those things that we've always wanted to do this, and we now have the opportunity and the space and the talent interested in it. It's just about kind of getting the doors open. So,
well, you're going to keep us informed on it when
Absolutely.
It's opening and when you've got a show, and
we'll even maybe do a broadcast from there.
I wouldn't mind. I want to come out and see a show.
Absolutely.
Are you going to be in it?
We'll see eventually.
We'll see. You're going to produce it. You don't want to be
That's it.
You're a producer. You could be an actor too.
I might have my day. Moment in the sun.
All right, man. Well, listen, that fits right in with the close of our show because, like I say, after Judy, it's always inspiring for me. And I close with, always keep chasing those rainbows. Never give up. Always pursue your dreams. And that's what you're doing, Jonathan.
Absolutely.
So until next time, I'm Larry Megan. Peace, love, and all good things.
Chillin' with Larry Megan.